Aha! All right, here we are. Um, about a month late, but no problem, no problem. April Fun Month is, well, the games are all over, and so what better time than to do the full month review for AYD Season 14 March. Now that a month has passed since I played all the games and they're completely gone from my memory, now's the perfect time to go back and review them and refresh myself. Which I mean only half sarcastically. I think it is good to go back from time to time at games you played a month or 2 months or 6 months ago um, and think again about the moves you played, why you made the decisions you did, and how your thinking has changed since then. Do sort of a introspective analysis. So this should be good. Very good. So, all right. So 5 games. The first one is my game with Vincent CB. Unfortunately, for this particular game, I don't have that much to say in the way of what the teacher said. Insung didn't review this one. The co-teacher Sulki reviewed it, who's another extremely strong former Korean Yunkuseng, real Yunkuseng. Um, but the quality was not that good, like the audio quality, and it was kind of difficult to understand what he was saying. Um, So this is going to be mostly me looking at the game from my own point of view again. Okay, so up until here, C15 is a little bit unusual. Um, in this case, normally white would only play C15 if black had some stone around this area. So um, if we imagine that, say, black had a stone here, then if white blocks this way, then black can cut right away, and these two stones are looking fairly weak since black has this helper stone right here. It's kind of annoying for white to deal with the D14 cut in particular. So that's the time when white prefers to play C15 instead of B14. But in this case, that's not really a concern. So I'm not too sure. I feel like this just gives black a little bit more territory on the side. And then this extension, I don't know. Normally you can Hane, and then fix like this, and black will throw in a peep. And then the black corner is completely surrounded. White has good influence on both sides, although there's still another, maybe black can get in another peep here at some point. So it's not a perfect wall, but it's pretty strong in every direction. Um, Compared with the actual game, when black escapes this way, then the left side of the board is not really developable for white anymore. Whereas in the other variation, um, the left side of the board looks pretty good for white, given this strong wall, and seems fine. White should definitely be able to make some points in this A area, I would say, compared with the actual game where there's nothing. And I don't feel like H17 is really giving white all that much on the top side either. So, but white's invasion here was very good timing. Um, and the teacher Sulky said that white handled this very well, the bottom area. So, I mean, if we look at the final result, there's like unlimited variations here, right? With all this attaching and cutting. I guess this attach and cut was not really good. I think I can just kick and maybe slide into the corner, um, or cover on top like this to keep attacking the two stones. Something like this. So to keep white sort of unstable and keep it as a weak group that black can look to keep attacking while solidifying both sides. So I think this is a more classical, solid way of playing, and I tried to get a little bit fancier with this attach and cut. But P3 is really nice really nice tesuji in this situation. So the basic idea is that if black tries to react to this p3 move directly, then white can Atari and go down, and then Atari and throw in and Atari, and then white extends and black resigns because the game is over after black loses all these stones on the bottom. So that's the basic sequence that white is looking at. So black has to be very careful, which is why I can't hane, and instead I extended. So white plays for the corner, makes this ko, and white has some very nice ko threats in the area. And then my evaluation was, after this, I thought the game was fairly good for black still, because I felt like I made nice territory on the bottom, plus I made really nice thickness here, facing the center, and I have good territory in the upper left, and the upper right and the bottom left corners are essentially equivalent, so they kind of cancel each other out. So I felt like I had pretty good influence. I thought my territory here was about equivalent to white's territory on the right, and so I just had the upper left corner compared with white's group here, and I thought my upper left corner was a little bit better. That was my evaluation, but Sulky said that the game is good for white now, that black handled the bottom not very well. And I understand why he says that, because white gets this super thick, alive, completely alive shape in the bottom right and destroyed all of black's corner territory, where if you go back before, it was completely black's corner, like everything on the bottom is black. Black's not going to be able to make all the territory, but it should be most of it at least, or a good chunk of it. But then in the end, white actually gets all this stuff in the corner. So well done for white on the bottom. So I take the corner, and then white extends, which I think is good, probably necessary. If white does something else, then I think when black extends all the way here, it's going to be pretty painful for white to handle this group, where it doesn't have enough space on the left side to make two eyes, so it'll have to run out. Not really a good situation. So this white extension is very nice, but then I get the upper right corner. So I kind of got both the lower left and the upper right corners. So now, and white eliminates the Aji on the 3 stones. So now I feel like the game is pretty good for black, but Sulky still thought it was better for white, which at this point I think it's, to me at least, I feel like black is comfortably leading this game, like double digits in points, but Sulky still thought it was good for white, so I guess that's the difference between, silly American amateur versus a battle-hardened Korean out for blood, Youngku Sang. And Sulky said that M17, this was a big mistake, or this kind of was white's big mistake, that where the game started to unravel. He said this was an overplay because white's group in the upper left is not really clearly, it's not a really strong group, and we'll see another example of this in 2 games. In the 3rd game that I'm going to review, my game against Shinichi, or 4th game? I don't know, my game against Shinichi, where white sort of thought that his group was a strong group here, and so after I come close, he jumps right into M17 to start fighting, but it turns out the white group is actually weak. I do the same thing in a game of mine against Shinichi that I will be reviewing in like 20 minutes in this very video, so don't go anywhere. So we start to fight. I like, Sulky didn't say too much about the fighting in this area. I think it was basically pretty good for both sides. Yeah, after this, then white's group in the upper left is difficult to handle, and especially after D12, then it looks like the upper left white group is almost dying. I made a mistake here by just linking I should go through, push through and cut like this. White can block and block, um, but then I can capture and I can clearly live in the corner. Um, and still white, this white group is still without a base, so it could be attacked later. The upper left position is still in flux. We can't say that this white group is dead yet. Definitely looks like there should be um, some kind of thing that white can do, maybe playing around this A-B area. Um, so maybe it can still live, but it'll be difficult because it's got no eyes and it's kind of surrounded. My thoughts were um, to just keep surrounding it, and if white captures just these two stones, then this it's only two stones, so it's only one eye. Uh, so that was my thought process, but didn't end up mattering because um, we go here to the right side, and the game ends because white kind of misread this. But it was a very difficult white game for white at this point anyway. Um, yeah, because after this, the right side is shattered. White's upper left is still kind of weak, and actually still white's group on the top side isn't 100% alive either. If black jumps to S18, so. So unfortunately, can't say too much more about this game, other than white did well on the bottom, and the main point was that M17 was an overplay. Um, so this white group is a weakness. I'll go into it more. This sort of idea of this white group looks like a wall. It's strong. I should fight with it, but actually not. Um, I'll talk about that more in the other game where I have uh, more to say in my Shinichi game. Okay, so moving on to the second one, my game with two cookies. Unbeknownst to two cookies, I am a cookie connoisseur. So I am. Oh, I didn't mention the colors. Hmm. I hope it was clear. Unfortunately, it just says white and black in this. I use some SGF merge tool to merge all the games into one tree, and it doesn't save the player names. So in the first game, hopefully it was understood eventually that I was black and Vincent CB was white. Um, and in this game, I am black yet again, and two cookies is white. Right. So in this opening, this pincer is an overplay, especially when black already has 03. And the reason is, if we do the regular standard, this is sort of the standard shape that gets played on the side. We see that 03 is in a really nice position already to harass this white group. It's kind of this is sort of like a standard shape where if this stone doesn't exist, if black wants to harass this white group, 03 is the nice one, because it looks at playing L2 later um, to connect up and completely destroy the base. Not immediately, because then white will jump out and black still has some weaknesses, but eventually it can do that. And so white doesn't want to play this pattern because black already has 03. In this case, black's just going to push on top. And black has this really, really, really nice wall facing the center. So it's difficult for white to do anything in the center when black is this strong. And white didn't really get that many points out of it either. The corner's still open. Black can play the 3-3 at any time. So this is generally good for black. So white cut instead. And I made a mistake. I back off in Hane. But actually the good move, which I knew, but for some reason I didn't think of it at the time, the good move for black is to cut, actually. And then after white plays Atari, then Atari, Atari, and jump. And then we see again when black has this O3 stone that it's in a really nice position to limit this white group on the bottom. So white can exchange the Atari and jump to connect to the corner. So white's not going to die, um, but white's corner is fairly small, and black can maybe add one more move to lock down these two stones and eliminate the Aji, or maybe, yeah, that's probably best. Or maybe black wants to jump and start a big fight, like so if white links something like this to start a huge fight in the center. My style is probably to just play Atari. And then similar to the other variation, but this one's even better, black's influence is so good. White plays all these moves on the second line, first line, only gets the corner territory, and black's influence towards the center is quite good. Not to mention all the points in the bottom right. So definitely this would be the best way for black to play, but I missed it. I backed off and played the Hane, which is still okay. White plays this wedge, but this was a mistake. White should play this kick instead. So then black can play here, white can connect underneath, and white gets a pretty nice corner territory this way. And there's still Aji to look at on the outside, although it is black's move. So probably this is still a little bit better for black, but this one, at least white's corner territory, is pretty nice. Let's see. If black really tries to keep splitting, then black can Tiger Mouth and then go down to keep white's corner split from this H2 group. But white will link and then push out. It's really difficult to say who's attacking who, right? I actually feel like black is weaker. So that's a little bit too much. And black could do this one instead. White's still going to link up, underneath, but then there's still this ladder possibility, so white could bring the stone out later. That's why kind of the proper one would be to just cleanly capture the stone like this or not capture the stone, but surround white like this. Have white take gote to connect, and then extend to develop this bottom right. Or maybe get really cool and do a shoulder hit. But that's beside the point. Anyway, this wedge led to the collapse of white's bottom left position. So this way, black goes and cuts, and then I throw in like this, which is a pretty nice shape move, and capture. I'm going to come back to this. So the corner is a ko, which I was reading the whole time as black can cut, then Atari, and link. And what is the ko that I was thinking of? Right. Can go down. Wait. I went too fast and I did something wrong, because this is a Dame Zumari white dies, but it's a ko. What did I do? Oh, right. White die. Oh, right. Sorry. No, this is right. But white can't just descend to capture the stones, because now white can't do it because it's self-Atari. And same thing, self-Atari. So white has to throw in here and go down. So now it's a black and Atari, and white captures, and now it's a ko for the corner. Um, so I left the position like this. I played elsewhere, but actually it would have been a little bit better if I had exchanged all the way up to here and now play elsewhere. Oh, oh, excellent. Oops, sorry. I was just cutting together the last teaching video of my game with Lucas, and it finished. Sorry about that. Okay, so this way, the main difference is that now white needs 2 moves to fix the corner. White will need to capture, and then black plays somewhere else, and then white needs to capture again. And if white doesn't invest 2 more moves, then it's still going to be a ko. Whereas in the game, when I play up here, white can fix everything with just 1 more move. So actually a pretty big difference, being able to play 1 move as white to take the entire corner compared with having to play 2 moves. That's a pretty big difference. Um, and there's still the ko-aji this way, so black could still fight the ko and try to win. So that that's kind of beside the point of actually there's a ko for the corner, which is kind of nice for black. So anyway, but I didn't play it right away. Oh, right. And then there's one. So I play this attach as sort of a ladder breaker here. So, oops. So white captures, and then I get to Hane here. So my shape is so good for the corner. Oh, and then I come closer here to attack the group, and so um, the rest of the game I'll go through it. But from this point on, it's just it's not over, but it's so hard for white because I mean the bottom left is still a ko. White has this group that's not really doing that much. White's under attack on the right side. So the only thing white has is this upper left corner, and black has everything else. So already the game is really, really difficult for white. Um, but so instead of this J6, the good move for white is J7. This type of move I personally don't consider. It doesn't cross my mind, but I really should. It's very nice. It's saying, okay, well, yeah, you can capture the stone, but white's going to squeeze. So you make black makes a really ugly shape and captures 1 stone, and white squeezes and gets the outside and is, very nice shape. So this looks great for white. Um, so the big benefit here is that there's no ladder breaker. White can just answer normally. Don't have to worry about the 2 stones running out. Yeah. So that's a nice thing to look out for. Sometimes playing the ladder to capture the 2 stones, usually a good idea, but sometimes maybe you want to play the net, even if it doesn't work, to squeeze, because capturing the 2 stones isn't always as important as getting out and making good shape. So it's a useful thing. This type of thing I personally need to try to find more in my games. So the rest of the game, we'll kind of go through it pretty quickly. There's really not too much else to say. Insung praised me a lot for how I keep fighting. So I didn't just say, like this move here, O10. Sometimes I would just play Q6. I got my points on the bottom, I'll make my points on the right, and then just have a peaceful game or whatever. But in this game, I kept attacking and putting the pressure on white everywhere. So he said that was very good. Yay! So I did good. Oh yeah, and N14. I remember during the actual game, I remember laughing like, I could never play N17. Where this is like doing what my opponent wants, and I never want to do what my opponent wants. Um, so have to keep attacking and make my opponent uncomfortable. Because think about this: if from white's point of view, if you're white and you play here because you want to go, you know, oops. do something like this to, or this, or whatever, to sort of make good shape and run out and keep splitting black's groups, like this looks pretty good for white. And if this is your plan, you're going to be so annoyed when black does this and you can't go through with your plan anymore because you have to keep this difficult fight up. Um, yeah, so N14 Insang again said was very good to keep fighting, and I should play more moves like this in the future. So, yay! Um, keep going. So this whole group on the right side, I have a chance to kill, but I miss it. Someone pointed out in chat, maybe it was Aaron, I'm not sure, but I cut here, but that gives white some forcing moves to make an eye. Um, what were the forcing moves again? This one? Anyway, I don't remember all the variations and stuff, but instead of this cut, black can play here to poke out the eye in the center. There's no possibility of an eye in the center now, um, and there's no problem. There's, yeah, not really a problem because these two stones are still in Atari, so black really doesn't have to worry about anything in this area. So anyway, I let white live, but still white has to live with just a few points here, and I got everything on top. So the rest of the game, I'm not really gonna go over much. It's just eventually I come back and I kill the bottom left, and yeah. So difficult game for 2 cookies, but you know, I like eating cookies, so good game for me. But still, well done for 2 cookies to move up to the League A. That's a pretty good accomplishment because he was in the League B for a while. Or no, I think he was in League C, and then he won all his games in in January, and then League B, and he won like 4 out of 5 games, and then he went up to League A. So I remember being impressed that he advanced all the way up there pretty quickly. So I'm sure I'll see more of him. I can't remember offhand if he renewed his membership, but all right, now we get into the fun ones where I lose. So this game I'll probably talk the most about. I'm black again, and Brian is white. So the game, there's a couple in particular points. I had wrong idea. Um, okay, so Insung said that white should play here, because this aims the double peep. So black goes out, white can do this, and it's kind of annoying to handle. Or this possibility exists at least to push and cut. Whereas if the stone is like this, then black has this sort of move, which even though it's not immediately I don't remember all the variations now, but even though it's not immediately working, basically it's a lot easier for white to handle this double peep when the white stone is at D12 instead of D13. I don't really understand and remember all the variations. It's kind of a subtle point, so we'll keep moving on. Here I'm hoping, I thought this attach was kind of an overplay, so I wanted to, this is my plan. If white just blocks, then I can have this move to look for this cut or this cut. So either way, I'd be really happy. So he tries to find the answer from my side, attaching here, which is very, very nice technique. If it looks bad, if it looks like anything you do in the local area is not really good, then try attaching to one of your opponent's stones and see if you can get some additional strength. This cut is an overplay. I should have played like this, Atari and Link, and then let's see. if white links this way, then black can cut here. Or, sorry, if white takes the one stone off, then black will extend, and white can capture. Then black gets a really nice corner on top, and can play like this immediately to reduce the effect of this panuki. Normally you don't want to give a panuki, well, you never want to give a panuki to your opponent, but given that black gets sente to play these exchanges to reduce its influence right away, it's not so bad for black. And black gets quite a lot of territory in the upper left to make up for it. So this would be fine for black. Or if white blocks this way, then can push through. And then still pretty good. Or actually, I think Insong gave a variation where you could capture like this. Yeah, if black... Oh, right. If white connects here, then black just captures. And then, you know, white's group is still kind of heavy and without any eye shape. And black's top side is super, super, super strong. So white would like to extend down, but then... what was it? Just block? Or push through here? Yeah, I think it's pushing through here. Basically, most things just kind of work for black. Atari and Atari. I don't know. It looks like black has a lot of choices for how to handle this, but at the very least, you could always do this. Oops. White should Atari, and then link. And similar to the other case where white's stones are still pretty heavy and black got really strong on top. Anyway, I played a different way where I extended. This was kind of surprising for Insong. He thought it was not that good. I still don't think it was that bad because I felt like I was surrounding white's group completely. But he said that white should now just jump to live on top and then don't worry about the group anymore. And so it's successful variation for white because white lives in black's area and black didn't really get anything. So that's a good point to keep in mind, that he lived in my area and I got nothing out of it. But white played this, and then here I can just answer, and it's fine. There's no need to not answer. I went for an exchange instead, where I take this panuki on the left, but white cuts through the center. And I think this was a pretty big mistake by me, because now white is strong, really thick in the center. So I used to be attacking white, and now white is completely fine. So I got a little bit of profit in the upper left, but really white got a lot in the center, and I can't attack it anymore. So that's never good. I pushed here next, but Insong said I should attach. I can do something immediately here. So I could Atari and then attach here. So if black goes out, or if white goes up this way, then simple, I can just keep playing kind of a normal way, and then something like this, and white center is not going to be that big, and black gets nice territory on the left. If white goes down, then this is the variation he showed. Black can sort of reduce the center, give some points on the left, but all this stuff that white got, it looked like in the actual game you'll see white gets this nice wall here facing this nice wall here, so then it's really difficult for black. But if I had played this way directly, then the center's not so good for white. So black has kind of 4 corners, so white should win, right? But actually, if black has all 4 corners and then can handle the center in this kind of nice light way, then the game's not bad for black. But I tried pushing, which locally is not even good. Locally, just G3 is the good one to solidify the shape on bottom, and then if white plays somewhere else, then later you can jump farther or play this one or whatever. But pushing, white played really strongly, Um, so basically I just gave white a wall facing white's other wall. That's never good. I didn't even get that much out of it. But this J4 was a big overplay, and keep going here. So there's a lot of reading here, but I killed a group, and I thought, so I killed a group, and I thought it was still, I thought this result was still not that good for me. I remember being a little bit panicked in the game that I have to live with these 6 stones now. Even though white's group is dead on the bottom, I still felt like I was being attacked. Um, but this turned out okay. Um, and then Tessagy problem, black to play and win the game. Alright, so the answer is this. With this one, it's not even like a great tessigy or anything, it's just kind of a normal shape. Um, but yeah, this way, uh, so this white's group died, and now this white group died. So the game's just over. Oops, but I completely missed it. My excuse will be that I believe I was in sudden death. I hope I was in sudden death at that point, because that's nothing groundbreaking or earth-shattering about just a regular tiger's mouth. But I missed it, so eventually I do live inside. So I live inside, and I kill the group on bottom. So at this point, I remember I still thought the game was pretty bad for me, but Insung, he counted it, and he thought that black was actually doing okay in this game. So I create some trouble here, but I should just push like this, Atari, Atari, and then come back to the left side, which is the last big area. And then by Insung's evaluation, the game is the game is actually better for black, which shocked me. I was shocked. I thought I was losing. So this shows I need to work a little bit better on my evaluation. So I try to make, I give white this Panuki to try to kill the corner completely, but it's just a ko. Ko is not really the best solution, and it's not even dead yet. I need to play like sort of like in the other game where white had to add 2 moves to solve the ko problem in the bottom left. Now I have to add 2 moves to actually capture the corner. Um, so that's not good. Should have just played the simpler way. Give the corner, but take the center points here, and then play for the last big area. But I thought I was losing, so I had to get this corner plus everything else. And then I messed up everything here, even after white plays this attachment, and I extend, and then white plays Atari. So I thought I just died and lost everything, but black still has a chance to do something with this area. So another test G problem. Can have 5 seconds, or pause the video or whatever. So black to play and get something in this area. Black can play here at A9 to make a ko. So at least getting a ko. In this game, I'm not sure if it's enough. I don't know if black has enough ko threats. White still has... Oh, white doesn't have that many ko threats either, actually. So maybe this is enough for black to have a chance. But I missed it. So I tried to just do something else inside. We keep going. And then this attach and cut, so I get another ko, so I have another chance to do something. At this point, the game's good. After white kills everything here, the game's fine for white. So this attach, I think it's simple enough to just back off here or back off here and just win on points, no problem. But I get a ko to try to get a little bit extra. And I ignore d15 because I'm crazy. White plays c18 and I'm dead. So this is where I played one really good move this game, and it's this game, or it's this move right here to save the game. It looks completely hopeless for black in the upper left, right? Like I have no chance of living after a13. But I found an amazing Tesuji to live. Uh, I'm not going to give you any time for this because I played a12, which some people know as self-Atari. um, Oops. So I lost this game. Moving on right away. This is my game against Shinichi. So I'm white this game. Um, let's see, black invades. So this was all fine. But Insung said that M3 was not good. It's too close. And this is the game where I sort of treat this white group on the right side as strength, but it turns out to be more of a weakness. So black peeps and then counterattacks, and this one is a good counterattack. I keep fighting really tightly because I thought this was a good fight for me, but Insong said, no, not really. You're actually much weaker than you think. So, which I felt after this. Black cuts, and I'm not in a very good position anymore. It looks like this group is dying. And black still can do some. The bottom left is still pretty wide open, so black has um, a lot of options. Um, so this Atari and extension to sacrifice 2 stones. This was a pretty good idea. This Atari, I remember in the review I was saying, oh, this Atari was lost me the game, and it is. So I'm pretty sure I did a pretty long review of the variations in this area during and after the actual game. So I'm not going to go too much into detail. But Insung said that this was fine, sacrificing the 2 stones, and then Atari here. And the game is good for black, definitely at this point. Um, Black has nice corner in the bottom right, corner up here. This group is pretty good. So now is the time for black to peep and extend on the bottom. And then what does white have? Assuming, if white goes crazy and tries to fight here, excuse me, then black can either take the corner or, oops, I lost the focus, or jump. And then this white group is not 100% alive if, if white answers here, and then, easily this white group can become weak and attacked and not really good. Yeah, so after this, the game is definitely good for black and fairly comfortable. Um, it's easy. The games are easy when you have such a strong shape like this in the center and you don't have to worry about it. Plus, there's still the Aji of bringing this stone out later to keep attacking this group or to split the center, split these 3 stones off. So this would be a comfortable way for black to play, but black brings the stone out directly to keep fighting, which is an overplay. It gave me a chance because I get to play S13, which is really nice shape point. Yeah, and so now this black group got cut off. I'm poking into this corner, poking into this corner. So up to here. So T2 is the losing move. I should play R2, which I went over in the game to make a ko. And if I do that, then actually the game is good for white at this point because white can win the ko without losing too much. Let's see, what were the ko threats we went through? This one. Then white has, this is a ko threat. White can capture, can go down as a ko threat. Then this one is a ko threat. And then what is black going to do? The problem is that if black makes a co-threat like something like this, and white captures, then black's going to lose the entire corner, as well as letting white live. So it's a really heavy co for black. I mean, it's really heavy for white too, but white has lots of local co-threats. So even if black sort of has to play a co-threat here, so white could ignore that, let black connect, um, and then defend the corner or something like this to keep the connection between the M4 group, this A group, and the corner. Um, Something like that's possible. Or white can actually keep going because this sort of co-threat is still pretty big. If black captures, then white gets a lot of points up here. And these co-threats turn into sort of bad exchanges for black. Or maybe not bad exchanges immediately, but not really helpful exchanges. And white lives. So with a result like this, the game is probably slightly better for white, but still a lot of game left to play because this corner's the territories. Well, actually, this is probably pretty good for white. This game, yeah, actually, this game is quite good for white because black only got a few points here. This territory is pretty good, but the upper right is completely shattered, and it's tough for black to actually get a lot of points. These 3 stones are white can kind of just throw them away, and it looks like the bottom left is much better after these bad exchanges. It'll be easy for white to handle this group if if we do the same thing sort of as before. Um, white can almost live just with something simple like that, um, or attack. So stronger shape here, easier to handle. Yeah. Anyway, so that's how I should have played this R2 to make the ko, and then the game is definitely maybe not really good for white, but definitely a good chance with the ko. But I didn't play that, so the game is just over. Because black lives in the bottom right, and my dragon died. Oops. Yeah, if you don't understand all the intricacies of this position, like for example, why can't black just cut like this? Oops. Um, so I'll go through it really quickly, but it's the sort of thing where this is a great example. There's a lot of different life and death principles here that would be really good to go over on your own time. So the main reason is that after white gets a stone at T6, then white can kill the black group. So this is a pretty good life and death problem. What level would this be? It's been a while. Well, let's see. I played Gary, who's 4Q, on Tuesday. I bet he could solve this pretty quickly. Anyway, it's a good problem. White to kill, white's turn. Who cares what the level is? Okay, I'll say the answer in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so you can just push. Simple one. If black blocks, then throw in. That's the key move that you have to see. Black can't play here because it's self-Atari. So here, and then it makes it a false eye. So because of that Aji, that's why white is connected. It's like indirectly connected. Black can fix this, and white will link. So that's why white is able to jump all the way to S3 in this case, because sort of you can't see it on the board, but this exchange is already on the board because it's Sente for white to kill this group. So that's a cool little thing. And then another cool one is that white can't play black can't go down with T2 to get everything because white links, and then but black can cut. But then white can Atari and Atari, and this is still Sente to kill this group, so black has to respond, and then everything died. So anyway, there's a lot of cool little tricks and reading in here, and I missed the obvious one. When I played this, I thought I could kill it, but I can't. I thought I could do this, but black can simply live this way. Oops. If I hadn't played this exchange, this Atari, this move for this move, it would be a different story, because I would have these two Aji stones here, so then um, I can play this, and black can make this a false eye, but then I go Atari, Atari, and Atari, and black can't link. So I can make one eye here, and I have one eye on the right. So, anyway, interesting game. It's a pity that I didn't see. Um, it's a pity that I didn't see. Well, I did see R2. I remember seeing this Ko, but I thought I misread, and I thought T2 just killed it without Ko. So that was my misread. Huh. It's a pity. Yeah, but in this game, I want to touch on again. I want to go back to this. So why is this white group weak? Maybe it looks, to me, I treated it as a strong group. I thought, oh, I'm going to play M3, kind of an aggressive close move. And if there's fighting, fine. I've got this nice wall here. But there's kind of two reasons that it's not actually strong. The first reason is that it has no eyes, like no clear eyes and no clear way to make eyes, right? It looks like at best, maybe white can make one eye like this, maybe, but that's Gote. So maybe one eye and Gote on the edge, but I mean not really. But so there's no clear eyes. It's also it's kind of surrounded on not 3 out of 4 sides, but if you think of this as like a big circle around my group, then this is like more than 180 degrees, right? Like more than half of the circle is black stones. So I'm more than half surrounded already. So that's not good. I mean, this is Wei Chi, right? The surrounding game. And then the last reason is that black has this peep to play anytime, which makes my shape kind of thick. Thick but heavy, right? And then after, we saw after a while that black can push out and cut and fight, and I sort of have to worry about M3 as well as this big group later. So I have to come back and play J6. And my group ends up mostly surrounded and almost dying. So Insong said that M3 is the big overplay. Well, a pretty big. I don't know. He didn't really say how big an overplay it was, but it was definitely an overplay. And instead, I should try a more mild way, like K4. So now, if black does something like this, then K4 is better suited to help the lower left corner and expand that area, and I can just handle the center. Or if black plays somewhere else, then later I can look to play a move like this to make a good connection for the center between my group on the right and the bottom left. So that would be a more stable way to play in this area. This was too much. Okay, last game. Classic match, me and Longstride. Me and Longstride. Me and Starstorm 3, aka Josh. As we see, probably after watching the past few games, you can, if you didn't see, then you can guess that I'm black, because I'm playing my favorite opening. This game, oh yeah, so R15 was bad. White should go into the corner immediately. And then it's kind of awkward for black to handle. If black links, then white can slide and still do something inside pretty easily. And so then black's group is not really doing that much. You know, black can later clamp, but white's group on the outside is free and free to run into the center. It's okay. But black's group could be attacked. So the kick, I was thinking, my thinking was just messed up. I was imagining, oops. I was thinking it would be more like when white had approached here, and then you kick and extend, and white extends, and then you put the stone in immediately. And then this is the general shape. So this is what I wanted to do, but it was not the right situation because I already had this R8 stone, and white already had this R10 stone. So it's not a good time to kick because white already has a base here, so white can go into the corner immediately. I don't have time. I don't get the first move to put in the R12 stone. But in the actual game, white jumps, and then I go in anyway. White boots like this, and I can just extend. I misread that I would get squeezed really horribly, but so it should be. So this is the proper way to play. Um, so white has a lot of weaknesses here, and so we assume that white fixes one of them, then black will connect underneath. And then if white fixes this one also, then black can capture these 3 stones, which is a pretty nice profit. And this this probe now looks kind of bad because black now has a strong shape, so it doesn't really have to worry about this thickness much. Plus there's still this weakness here. Maybe black can cut later. So probably white's going to want to wait, what? Oh yeah, sorry. Wait. So black would connect here. So probably white's going to want to play this one to capture this stone. Then black can cut, and black gets really nice territory already. It's like 20 points, another 20 points. Looks really good for black in terms of cash. White's influence is pretty good, but there's still a weakness here. And, peeps and stuff. So anyway, that would have been much better for me to play. But in the actual game, I just exchange underneath. And then I play P12, which I completely missed that. So now if I move this stone out, or whatever, that I completely missed that now white can block here and kill the 2 stones. I can't do this anymore because white will kill. And the difference is this liberty. Without this liberty, then black can cut and kill the 2 stones, but when this liberty is filled, then black can't do it. So P12 is awful, because I come back and play this anyway, so it's basically Gote. But this P8 move immediately makes P12 worthwhile again. Because this, oops, I don't play right away. Oh, I extend once, and then I play here right away. And so this is looking at if white links here, then cut immediately. So this way, white is split into 2 groups that are both heavy and kind of difficult to handle. So, if white jumps out, then black jumps out. White jumps out, then this group is going to get attacked. And if white does something like this to capture these 2 stones, black will be pretty happy because these 4 look a lot bigger than these 2. And the only reason this works is because of this P12 stone, right? If we imagine the P12 stone isn't there, then it's not a problem at all, right? Simple net. Um, so in the game, white blocks this way, and then black just pushes. I get to push and cut, and this goes pretty well. So up until here, so I got a really nice corner. Now this R3 stone, the Aji's gone. I can kill. If white tries to live like this, I can play P2, and there's no chance. Um, read all the variations out. Right now, no. Probably not worth it, but um, so here is where I kind of let things start to slip away. So this is sort of the same shape as the previous game where I played here, and I thought, oh, I'll kind of come close to this strong group and attack, but it wasn't really the good idea. And in this game, it's kind of the same idea. The game's definitely good for black after I make all this territory. That's way more than white has. So um, there's no need to be aggressive and leave weaknesses. So eh, this is the time to play a simple, solid, slower move like this. And then, assuming I don't die with this group or this group, then the game is easy for black, because black has so much territory. But I went all the way here, so white attacks, and I feel like the fight is okay for black, but there's just no reason to fight like this. White sort of took the better flow, where after white gets these jumps, so we'll go forward a little bit. Now it's frantic and it's difficult for black because now black has 3 groups to worry about. Oops. Instead of 2. And white has these D stones drilled out into the center, which is splitting everything. So now it's just way, way harder for black to handle everything than if we go back here. Just take this simple extension to L17, then it shouldn't be that hard to handle this A group and this B group. Yeah, it's okay. White can attack them, but shouldn't be able to get enough profit to overcome the huge territorial lead that black has. So this is where things start to slip away. I played this one, but I think I made a big mistake. I think missing this Hane was very bad. So this one, if white links, then I can come back and connect like this. And now I have clear 2 eyes on top. I captured this stone and I have one more eye up here, so it's completely fine. And I'm basically connected to the center. Maybe, oops. Maybe white can still split like this, but you know, it should not be too hard to make 2 eyes here. And if I'm solid up here, it should be fine. There's still the weakness over here, so that's why Insung said that I asked him about this if I had played L16, what white should do, and now is the time for white to invade here and link up and then keep trying to fight. So this might be bad if white gets the Hane, so maybe black needs to play like this, and then white can keep attacking this group. And if white can get a lot of profit, either kill this group or get a lot of profit attacking it, then the game's still definitely playable for white. It definitely looks like white has a good chance to make up a lot of the points attacking this group. I don't even know how this is going to live. This looks terrible. Yeah, so basically the story of this game is that when I play H17, it leads to white jump, 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 jump. All these jumping moves that split all my groups apart and make it a huge mess that I could not handle well. So definitely should have just played L17, and you know, if white extends, then just fine. Jump and handle these two groups and win on points. Um, so we keep going. I made one other big mistake that I want to mention, which was um, so I thought after playing C11, I was like, okay, if I get away with this, it's fine. Because the corner, White's corner, got completely, or not completely, but mostly destroyed when I play E18. So now I play C11, and now my group on the left is definitely fine, definitely solid and strong. So I just have to not die in the center, and the game should still be good. So he pushes, and I should just block. And if I just block, the game is fine. But I threw in this forcing move because I thought this is making the connection better between this A group and this B group. I thought this was making the connection more clear, but actually it's not. It makes it worse. Because white plays here. Ah, what a nice testagy. H14. And there's no way to save the stones. This is a great one. If you don't see all the variations, take a minute, look through it. It's pretty cool. Great move. And so now I try to do something crazy in the bottom left, but it doesn't really work. So I kept playing for a while to try to get something back, but I couldn't do it. So basically, after white captures these stones up here, I had to get something crazy out of the bottom left, and I didn't. So I lost. I resigned. But if I just link like this, then if white tries to cut, then I can block, cut, and then this tiger mouth is important. This one, if white answers, then of course white or black can just capture the stone, and maybe you lose 3 stones, but that's not a big deal. Or actually, you could do this and not even lose the 3 stones. This one. So if white saves this stone to keep cutting, then black can push through Atari and Atari to link up. So the problem is that in the actual game, white has this E13 stone, so just nothing works now. It's so sad. It's traumatizing to go back over it. Don't make me go back through this. Can't do it. But Insung said he looked through this and couldn't really find anything. So I didn't really have much of a chance. I did capture these stones, but it wasn't enough. If I had been, maybe if I can play this, and if he responds, and then we go through the other stuff, then actually I can play here and not die. But that would be really, I would need to be really good reading on my part and for him to make a mistake, because he can just ignore and kill everything. Sort of what happened in the game. Anyway. Yeah, sad times. But still generally a good game. I was happy with the opening. After here, I was in a pretty good position, but unfortunately I couldn't close it out. Yeah, so the main things from this month that I'm going to remember are not to come too close to this shape always. Sometimes you can, if you're really strong everywhere and you want to give the most pressure by threatening to play E18, because that's the follow-up for black. If you're really strong everywhere and you want to give a lot of pressure, then sure, you can go closer. Like in this game, if my group, like let's say, let's change this around. Okay, so now this white group is actually really strong, right? Because it's already completely alive from capturing the stones. So now if I want to come this close, fine. I think it's fine to go this close because I've got a strong group here and I'm expanding from my corner. but I need to be better aware of when I have a weak group that it looks like a strong wall or whatever, but actually it can become weak. So I need to keep that in mind. And I also don't want to forget that cool little, where was it? It was one of the variations in this game. Yeah, this one. Uh, this type of move. You don't have to worry so much about the two little stones. You can give them, but squeeze on the outside and still have a good result. So, cool. Um, right. So I think that will do it for the March reviews. Um, and yeah, AYD. So that's actually the end of AYD season 14. But never fear, because season 15 actually already started. But my first game will be on Sunday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So looking forward to that. I'll be playing Boltar. Should be a good match. Yeah, great. So if I glossed over anything, if there's some variations you want to see, or just any questions in general, please, 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 please leave a comment. I would love to hear from you. And as always, thank you for watching. All right.